All right, Patriots. Now, this video here is hot, it's heavy, and it's a little bit dark. So, viewer discretion is definitely advised for this video because right now, what's going on in the House, they are not messing around. All of the Democrat deflection of blaming Republicans for documentation not being released is false. What happened was the Democrats wanted to control what was released. So, they wanted to be able to pick out whatever little lines and little things they could, put together a montage and present that. The Republicans did block that because Republicans want the entire files out. But Democrats don't want that. You got to wonder why. As a matter of fact, in a recent hearing with the Senate, Pam Bondi confronted Democratic senators for blocking the release of the flight logs like the Republicans wanted, even though the mainstream media and the Democrat politicians want to act like, oh, we just trying to get this out, knowing they had that information in their hands for the entire 4 years of Biden's term and during Trump's first term. Because remember now, the whole thing with Epstien had been going on. They knew. And if there was a smoking gun, guess what? They would have let it rip to keep Trump from getting back into the White House. They would have used it in 2020. They would have used it in 2024, especially in 2024, when the tide had shifted and the momentum was swinging towards the Republican Party and MAGA. But they didn't because there's no there. Yeah, he knew the man and took pictures. Everybody knew that. But by no stretch has any woman, any worker, anybody even accused of seeing President Trump on a plane, on an island, or in any activity in back rooms with this man. They met and they knew each other, but it's about to get deep. So I got video clips. Just watch what's going on. So let me check out a little bit of this article with you. Then I'm going to get off into the hot and heavy. So the House Oversight Committee has subpoenaed former President Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton as part of a bombshell investigation into Jeffrey Epstein's crimes, thrusting the power couple into the heart of a probe exposing their alleged ties to the PDF files financiers' horrific network of exploitation. I'll read this quick paragraph, then we're going to move through. Committee Chairman James Comer has also issued subpoenas to a slew of deep state heavyweights, including former FBI directors James Comey, Robert Mueller, as well as attorneys general Loretta Lynch, Eric Holder, Merrick Garland, Jeff Sessions, and Bill Barr, whose father notably hired Epstien and penned bizarre sci-fi novels with the PDF undertones. This sweeping inquiry aimed at unraveling the web of elite complicity in Epstein's atrocities signals a long overdue reckoning for those who may have enabled or covered up the scandal, with critics hailing it as a strike against the untouchable establishment. But President Trump, your president, my president, is breaking all of that up. So let's check this document out here first. It says, plaintiff admits she has made not allegations of illegal actions by Bill Clinton, but plaintiff has asserted that she spent time with President Clinton on the island of Little St. James, that's Epstein's Island, U.S. Virgin Islands, and that she flew there with the president in a helicopter piloted by Mrs. Maxwell, Ghislaine. In the article authored by Sharon Churcher, and I'll read this real quick. On one occasion, she adds, Epstien did invite two young brunettes to dinner, which he gave on his Caribbean island for Mr. Clinton shortly after he left office. But as far as she knows, the ex-president did not take the bait. I've been about 17 at the time, she says. I flew to the Caribbean with Jeffrey and then Ghislaine went to pick up Bill in a huge black helicopter that Jeffrey bought her. She always wanted to fly, and Jeffrey paid for her to take lessons. And I remember she was very excited because she got her license around the first year we met. I used to get frightened flying with her, but Bill had the Secret Service with him, and I remember him talking about what a good job she did. I only met Bill twice, but Jeffrey told me they were good friends. So that's just the tip of the iceberg, and I can go on some more with this. Matter of fact, we all dined together that night. Jeffrey was at the head of the table. Bill was at his left. I sat across from him. Emmy Taylor, Ghislaine, blonde British assistant, sat at my right. Ghislaine was at Bill's left, and at the left of Ghislaine, there were two olive-skinned brunettes who'd flown in with us from New York. I'd never met them before. I'd say they were no older than 17, very innocent looking. They weren't there for me. They weren't there for Jeffrey or Ghislaine because I was there to have sex with Jeffrey on the trip. Maybe Jeffrey thought they would entertain Bill, but I saw no evidence that he was interested in them. He and Jeffrey and Ghislaine seemed to have a very good relationship. Bill was very funny. He made me laugh a few times. And he and Jeffrey and Ghislaine told blokey jokes, and the brunettes listened politely and giggled. After dinner, I gave Jeffrey an erotic massage. I don't remember seeing Bill again on the trip, but I assume Ghislaine flew him back. So that's just getting into it. So right there, you've got a young lady testifying and giving up information revealing that she was there with Bill, was picked up by Ghislaine to go to the private island to kick it with two young 17-year-old girls and herself at the table. She left to give an erotic massage. What do you think? She never said what happened with the two young brunettes and Bill. We don't know, right? And it gets deeper. I'm just warming you up with this. Now, this right here is a copy of a flight log. And as you can see, former U.S. President Bill Clinton found himself on the list of those who flew 26 times. And right here, you see it. It says Bill Clinton, 4 Secret Service, 2 males, 1 female, and it's got their initials. So, as you can see, 26. Now, Bill was confronted at an event. Check out how he handled this as a reporter. Asked him about this situation.
Any comments on the alleged allegation of your connection with Jeffrey Epstein?
No. Did you see that? The gentleman right here, he came to him and told him, no. Listen to what he said.
Connection with Jeffrey Epstein?
No. His handler stepped right in and said, nope. Now, Bill Clinton is a former president. And this gentleman that just stepped up to help him looks like he's about 30 years younger. How can he tell a former president what and what not to say? They wanted him to avoid stepping in quicksand. And he stepped in anyway. Didn't you hear him say the evidence is clear? Now, let's go back to 2015. If you're enjoying this video, do me a solid, hit that thumbs up, because I will never ask you for a Cash App or for a Super Chat. But you hitting that like button, it definitely helps get the video out there for others to see. And if you aren't subscribed to the channel, subscribe. And whether you're already subscribed or subscribing now, make sure that you hit the notification bell and you select all, because YouTube has issues getting out the notifications. But when you select all, YouTube will make sure you get notified when I upload new videos. Okay, this is President Trump. Now, he's been sounding the alarm for years. And now they're trying to point everything at him. But again, this is another piece of proof that he wasn't afraid to talk about this and put it out there. And this was before his run for 2024. This was before he even took office in 2016. Check this out.
Bill Clinton.
Nice guy. Got a lot of problems coming up, in my opinion, with the famous island with Jeffrey Epstein. A lot of problems.
Bill Clinton.
So as you see,
nice guy. Got a lot of problems coming up, in my opinion, with the famous island with Jeffrey Epstein. A lot of problems.
Look at Trump. Look how much weight he done lost. When you look at him now and you look at him then, you can see our president's extremely fit. But even back then, he was already sounding the alarm saying, hey, there's a lot of problems. And this is back from 2015 going into 2016. And now the Democrats want to step up and act like, oh, Trump, you're trying to hide it. Trump, you're trying to be shady. How? He was the main one. He was the biggest politician at the time in the country and was spewing it out, unafraid. And this is while running to get into the White House. You think anybody that was involved in something as nefarious as what Epstien was involved in would be shouting it at events? No, not at all. Matter of fact, they would try to sweep it under the rug and do what Bill Clinton did and avoid answering questions like that. But Trump took it head on because he knew that there was nothing that involved him. Now, this picture I'm going to show you right here, this image is what Jeffrey Epstein literally has on his wall at his house. He has this is Jeffrey Epstein's picture. This is what he had done as an oil painting of Bill Clinton in a dress, and he kept it on his wall in his home where when guests walk in, they see it. Now, what type of power do you have to have in order to have a former president's picture wearing a dress and red shoes on your wall? Well, not only he sees it, but every guest that you parade through the house. And allegedly, there were some really powerful people, Prince Andrew being one of them, that was on that island. And you think that Bill never said, hey, can you take that down? Or did he enjoy it? All I know is it's extremely weird. Should the Clinton Foundation be audited, even after stealing 90% of Haiti aid and taking $145 million from Putin for U.S. uranium mines? Bill Clinton went on 26 vacations with Epstien, and Bill says all trips were Clinton Foundation related. He said, I bet they all played Scrabble, right? We know that's BS. Now, right here, this is when Hillary Clinton, this is a walk down memory lane. This is when she loses her mind and decides she was going to confront President Trump about something. And he's going to spin the mirror around back at her. And Bill Clinton just happened to be collateral damage. And then after this clip, I'm going to let you hear from victims themselves and from the reporters about this investigation and what's going on and where it is right now. Check this out.
What we all saw and heard on Friday was Donald talking about women, what he thinks about women, what he does to women, and he has said that the video doesn't represent who he is, but I think it's clear to anyone who heard it that it represents exactly who he is.
And certainly I'm not proud of it. If you look at Bill Clinton, far worse, minor words, and his was action. His was what he's done to women. There's never been anybody in the history of politics in this nation that Bill Clinton was abusive to women. Hillary Clinton attacked those same women.
I want to give a big shout out to the sponsor of this video, Chapter. And here's why. When my mom hit 65 years old, I watched her get bombarded with mailers, cold calls, and all these confusing ads about Medicare. And every single company pretended like they wanted to help her, but really they were just trying to sell her stuff. It seemed like the game was rigged and she was not supposed to win at all. And that's why I'm so excited to share information about Chapter with all of you. Now, who Chapter is? Chapter is a free Medicare advisory service that compares Medicare plans available, and they give you real, unbiased guidance. Chapter is completely independent and always puts customers first. Their whole focus is all about making sure that their customers, the seniors, get the right Medicare plan. And it's clear that they're making a real difference in the lives of seniors. So if you want real, unbiased help with Medicare, give Chapter a call at 402-527-1253. You'll talk to a real person who will help you figure out exactly which plan is right for you and has saved the average senior $1,000 a year. So I'm going to put the number here on the screen for you to be able to contact, or if you visit the website, go to askchapter.org/realpolitics.
And attack them viciously. 4 of them here tonight. One of the women, who is a wonderful woman, at 12 years old, was raped at 12. Her client, she represented, got him off, and she's seen laughing on 2 separate occasions, laughing at the girl who was raped. Kathy Shelton, that young woman, is here with us tonight. So don't tell me about words. I apologize for those words. But it is things that people say. But what President Clinton did, he was impeached. He lost his license to practice law. He had to pay an $850,000 fine to one of the women, Paula Jones, who's also here tonight. And I will tell you that when Hillary brings up a point like that, and she talks about words that I said 11 years ago, I think it's disgraceful, and I think she should be ashamed of herself, if you want to know the truth.
Woo! Lit her up, didn't you? Because you're not going to call him out about words that were recorded during a private conversation with guys just talking, shooting the breeze. What he said, was it crass? Yeah, but if you listen to a lot of men speak behind the scenes, you might consider it to be crass. But like he said, actions speak louder than words. And Hillary Clinton's actions against those women was vicious. She attacked them, and she attempted to ruin their reputations and ruin their lives. As a matter of fact, here's one right here. This is Kathy O'Brien. Now, I want you to listen to what Kathy O'Brien has to say. Now, the description of the video lets you know. Bill and Hillary Clinton's victim, Kathy O'Brien, exposes how Hillary and Bill are both PDF files. And P. Diddy was just the beginning. Check this out.
That certainly wasn't the only time I saw Bill Clinton using. My sexual experience with Bill Clinton was extremely limited, in spite of the fact that I was a. It was my experience that Bill Clinton is bisexual, leaning far more towards the whole end. All I've ever seen him involved in was the whole activity, with very limited experience with him myself. Whereas my experience was much more prevalent with Hillary Clinton, because Hillary is also leaning more towards the whole end, and it was she who accessed my sex programming to fulfill her purpose. People have all kinds of belief systems, and I'm sure each and every one of you has various and different belief systems as well. Regardless of what your belief system is, it is imperative that you know that these criminals are people. They are within our realm to affect. They need to be held accountable for their actions and their crimes against humanity.
Now, this isn't the first time that we've heard the rumors of Hillary Clinton playing on both sides of the street. Now, Bill, I wasn't familiar with him, playing on both sides of the streets, but Obama definitely had been accused by the man named Larry, I'll get his name, but Obama was involved when he came in and was accused of being affiliated with the same nose candy, booger sugar, that she just associated with Bill Clinton, and having acts with male counterparts in limousines and all types of stuff. So it's not too hard to believe, especially when you get off into this political Hollywood mix where you got the P. Diddy's and all of this crazy stuff that you hear, the Al Sharptons, Oprahs, allegedly all getting together and having these wild sex parties and whatnot. Supposedly or allegedly, the white party is supposed to be a representation of just that. So when you see these big celebrity white parties, on the surface, it looks like everybody's just enjoying themselves. And for the most part, they are. But there comes a time where the outer circle goes, the inner circle stays. They party some more. The drinking and the drugging get heavier and heavier. Then the next layer of people go because they got to stay and kick it on a more intimate layer. Maybe the harder drugs come out, freaky things start happening. And then when they go, you got the inner circle where it really goes down, where these folks lock doors. They take phones, where you're going to be there for 48 hours in some situations and in some cases. So it's extremely important not to hear what this woman said and say, oh, that's crazy. That doesn't take place. But now that was Kathy O'Brien. Now check out this report on the actual investigation and how it drug the Clintons into it.
To you, well, the Republican-led House Oversight Committee is turning up the heat, calling for testimony from former President Bill Clinton and former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, along with a slate of former Justice Department officials. These developments showing the controversy surrounding convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein is not going away. The congressional probe into the federal case of convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein is intensifying. The Republican-led House Oversight Committee has issued subpoenas for testimony from former President Bill Clinton and former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, as well as from a slew of ex-Justice Department officials. Committee Chairman James Comer discussed the Clinton subpoena on Fox News.
Because it was voted on by Congress in a bipartisan manner, I think that'll have good standing in court.
In 2019, a spokesperson for the former president said Bill Clinton had taken 4 trips on Epstein's plane in 2002 and 2003, but added he didn't know about Epstein's crimes. The House committee has also subpoenaed the DOJ for more Epstein files. The panel's top Democrat on CNN.
We want to get the files themselves and ensure that we get that information out and make it transparent to the public.
Meanwhile, sources familiar with the matter tell CBS News Epstein's associate, Ghislaine Maxwell, did not implicate President Trump in Epstein's crimes during her recent meeting with Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche.
I didn't talk to him about it.
Discussions are now underway over whether to make the transcript public. President Trump, who has past ties to Epstein, has long denied any wrongdoing. Trump has yet to rule out the possibility of pardoning Maxwell, and the House Oversight Committee wants the Justice Department to release all of those Epstein-related records by August 19th, with depositions set to take place from this month through early fall.
I do know that Ghislaine tried to go in for appeal. She was denied the appeal because everybody thought, oh, Trump is doing this and he's looking out for her to get his name clear. Do you understand that if she had information on President Trump that really could have brought him down, they would have made all types of ways for this woman, or she would have just dropped it out and the Democrats would have helped her if she would have said something prior. Do you not believe that anybody on the Democrat side tried to pluck information from this woman to implicate President Trump prior to the election? You should know that they did. Think about how demonic the Democrats are. They scratched, they clawed, they looked for anything they could to connect him to it while protecting and not harming people on their own team. The problem is this: all of the web is so intricate that those that are involved are in so deep that they can't get out of it. And Trump said, yeah, I've seen the guy, hung out with the guy, but didn't know everything that he was doing. Just like Puff. There's a lot of people that knew Diddy, that did business with him, that never saw that side. Because at the end of the day, yeah, he was a perverted freak, rapist, and all of that. But he also did good business. So when he did business good with those people over there that didn't fit in with that. So just because you know somebody and you do business with somebody doesn't mean that you're inside of all of their private inner workings, no matter how much the Democrats want to try to make it true. Now, on the heels of that, so now we know that the Republicans are digging. They've subpoenaed the Clintons. Can you believe that? It's almost as crazy as hearing about Trump when he was handcuffed or mugshotted in Atlanta. The only difference is that Atlanta mugshot, we know that was a political witch hunt. That was lawfare. This here, again, is retribution and justification for all of those women and maybe children who might have been harmed by this individual on his island. And I'm not saying that the Clintons did that, but I will say where there's smoke, there's fire. And Bill's name has come up way too many times, 26 times on the plane. And he's been to the private island. And we've even got a woman who gave information up as an eyewitness to being there, just being on the helicopter with him, being at dinner with the 2 17-year-olds. What happened after that is anybody's guess. But as much as they talk down on President Trump, he's fulfilling his promises on the border, fulfilling his promises on crime, fulfilling his promise on the economy. And they accuse him of being a fascist, being Hitler, being all of these things, all greedy, just trying to do everything for himself. I want you to look at this video. And when you see this, you might want to, you might even end up wanting to clip it out and send it to every single Democrat, liberal, and progressive you know, because this shows the BS that they talk about is nothing but lies. Check out this clip right here.
List of the last 6 presidents, comparing their net worth before and after their time in office. At number 6, you have Ronald Reagan, who was worth around $10 million before taking office, and then about $15 million after. Next, you have George H.W. Bush, who was worth around $4 million before, and then $23 million after. Then you have Bill Clinton, who came into office being worth around $1.3 million, but he left the White House with a stunning $241.5 million net worth. $241.5 million net worth.
$241.5 million net worth.
They cleaned house. Did you see that from 1.3 to 241? That is outrageous. And Nancy Pelosi has made even more than that, allegedly, even though we already know the truth.
Next, you have George W. Bush, who came into office being worth around $24 million and then left office being worth around $40 million. Then you have Barack Obama, who was worth around $1.3 million before, and he left office with a net worth of around $70 million. And then lastly, you have Donald Trump, who came into office with a net worth of around $3.7 billion, but left with a net worth of around $2.5 billion. Now, let me ask you, out of all those presidents, why do you think President Trump was the only one to actually lose money while serving in the White House?
Ain't that a trip? So the one they call fascist is the one fighting for freedoms of speech, freedom of the Second Amendment, just freedoms, period. The one that they call a dictator and authoritarian and Hitler negotiated the stop of 8 global wars. The one between Pakistan and India could have been very, very fatal. They both have nukes. Now you got Ukraine and Russia that he's trying to mediate and just bought a ceasefire to Israel and Palestine, hoping that that'll hold. The same person that they call racist is going into urban neighborhoods, removing the illegal immigrants that the Democrats dumped on them, because they weren't dropping illegal immigrants off in the suburbs and on Martha's Vineyard. As a matter of fact, when they tried that, y'all remember that bus got turned around so quick before you could say taco. They had that bus turned around, had bag lunches in them people's hands, patting them on the back saying, "Oh, thank you for stopping in, but yeah, you don't want to be here." Had them folks out, and it never happened again. But you know, and a lot of those people in Martha's Vineyard, those rich Ivy Leaguers, they're the main ones saying, you know what? We should let all the illegals in. We should let people from all around the world, poor people from all around the world, into the country. And they said, where do we put them? Oh, just throw them down there in those areas with the rest of the people that are struggling. They'll all get along, because they knew they weren't coming their way. And the moment that it even resembled that it was coming that way, they had law enforcement, they had barricades. They literally gave these people bag lunches and sent them on their way, did not even let them all off the bus. So I'm bringing this to let you know, if you've been worried about when is Trump going to bring the hammer down, when is the Republicans going to start holding people accountable? We got James Comey, he's indicted. Letitia James, she's indicted. Adam Schiff and John Bolton are definitely coming down the pipe. And now you got Bill and Hillary Clinton being subpoenaed to come in and testify in a deposition, or to do a deposition. And depositions are under oath, and you can be held accountable. So I just wanted to update you on what's going on, because the lamestream media isn't talking about these subpoenas, and you wonder why. Well, and if you stayed and you watched this video up to this point, I want to say I thank you from the top and the bottom of my heart. Please leave a comment. Tell me what you think. Forgive my voice too. I was messing around playing with my wife yesterday, was laughing and talking loud, strained a little bit, but I'll be back to normal pace tomorrow. If you aren't subscribed to the channel, please subscribe. More than anything else, make sure you stay safe and you be great. I'm Brian Maxwell saying I look forward to seeing you at the top. Over and out, y'all.